Sack Life, Beat Depression. It's day 682, and you know we're about to knock out another martial arts lesson for mental health to wipe depression. I messed it up. To wipe out depression. Can't get it right every time. One for the blooper reel. That being said, as you guys know, this is a martial arts for mental health class show. That guy running around behind me is Coop. Get out of here, Coop. Scram. Beat it. He's off his leash. We've got a little puppy in the studio today, so things might be a little dangerous. I'm going to try not to knock this guy out with any of our martial arts moves. As you guys know, it's martial arts for mental health show, so we like to focus in on those mental health tools. First one being gratitude. The more we use it, the easier it becomes to use, and the easier it becomes to find those silver linings, those things to be grateful for in life. So today I want to shout out gratitude to Century Martial Arts for donating this shirt, for donating gear, and that Beat Depression Bob, who's waiting for me back in the Sack Yard. We should be back in my hometown of Jersey soon, shortly. Ship my stuff over there already. So just a couple more things to get in line. And also gratitude going out to the first one in here, Mad with Hats. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for being consistent. Thanks for showing up and putting in the work to be here. You know, sometimes it's a challenge just to get out of bed in the morning, let alone to get up on your feet and fighting forwards for you. So make sure you give yourself credit for that. And that'll bring us into our second mental health tool, the list tool. Make sure you think of something you're grateful for first. That'll put you in a positive mindset. And then the second mental health tool we talk about is that list tool. Bloopers for the win. Swinging for mental health. Grateful for another day. Heck yeah. All good stuff. And Lisa the Luminary, thanks for being here as well. So the second mental health tool we'll talk about is the list tool, progress tracking, keeping track of that goal accomplishment, the daily goal accomplishment, which builds up over time into more and more proof of your strength, your endurance, and will give you self-validation, which nobody can take away from you because you're the only one who can give it to yourself. So it's been 682 days of consecutive progress for me, the Sackman. Hey, get out of there, Coop. 682 days of consecutive training for me, and let me know how many days it's been for you. The more you keep track of that number, the more powerful it will become. And when we share our progress with others, it helps motivate and inspire them to make progress in their lives as well. And in that way, we can be the change that we want to see in the world. It's one of the greatest ways that we can help each other. No one has to force, right? All you got to do is take care of yourself. Find your happiness. Find a way to build yourself up and just share that with others. That being said, that's our number tool. We talked about the gratitude tool. Let's get into today's lesson. Today's lesson, I'd like to cover some roundhouse kicks. We'll talk about the roundhouse kick and break it down a little bit. We'll put it into some combos. We'll talk low roundhouse. We'll talk body level, regular, standard, right across the body, roundhouse. We'll talk about the mechanics of it, and we'll put it into practice as best as we can. But for a lot of people, shadow boxing with the roundhouse kick is not ideal. It's better to have a bag, get the feedback, and that way you can practice with full force, and you don't have to worry about balance and things. So we're going to break it down in sections. We'll talk about the mechanics a little bit. We're going to modify it so that it's easier to pick up and start to think about the different moving parts of the body involved in that roundhouse kick. And then we'll practice some low and some mid roundhouses. Now, if you don't have room in your apartment to do a full roundhouse kick, or wherever you're tuning in from, you can modify to your level, and I'll show you how to do that as we go through as well. We'll also be tossing some of those fundamentals, just those jabs and crosses, moving around a little bit, keeping that movement in there, keeping it going, moving as fighters. We'll be working from Muay Thai stance. Shout out to Reed Brickman. Thank you for being here as well. And if you're not familiar with that stance, we'll break it down right now. It is a balanced stance with pros in both offense and defense. Scram, Coop, get out of here. What we're going to want to do is first visualize an opponent. Visualize that depression dummy. Go ahead and square up those shoulders and hips with them. Guard up high by the brow line. Tuck the fingers, tuck the thumbs. Guard nice and high. And we want to stand in our nice balanced stance. If you visualize a box on the ground, you're going to place the ball of your front foot in the top corner, ball of back foot in the bottom corner. Head right in the middle. That'll keep us nice and balanced. For the jab, step in, twist through. For the cross, rotate on the ball of that back foot, back to stance. Those are our fundamentals. That jab, cross, very basic stuff. And now for the roundhouse kick, we're going to break down the different parts of this roundhouse kick as we go through the lesson. For that roundhouse kick, when we're standing in our balanced stance, shout out to Shells, shout out to UT Doshi, thank you for joining, appreciate you out there. We just covered some of the basics. We talked about the gratitude tool and our progress tracking tool, so please do think about something you're grateful for and keep track of your progress every day, because that number will build up. I want to thank you for your time, even if you're just here to say hello. Appreciate that time, because time is all we have. So now we're going to break down the basics of that roundhouse kick we were talking about. So in a roundhouse kick in Muay Thai is executed differently than it is in Taekwondo or Karate and other martial arts. So we're going to talk about those. Hey there, Yudi. Good to see you. We're going to talk about those differences right now. So you'll notice in Karate and Taekwondo and other forms of martial arts, the roundhouses kind of have a chambered snap to them. It's nice, quick, boom, snappy kicks, snappy roundhouses. But in Muay Thai, it's more of a chop through. And we kick more with the hips. It's all about that hip rotation and chopping right through. Cool. Quit it, man. That's not for you. Sorry. Dog got him today.
Boss fight.
Yeah. We might have a boss fight on today's show. Yeah, so with the roundhouse kick from Muay Thai stance, we want to chop right through. We're not ending that kick at the point of impact with that chamber. Instead, we're traveling the whole leg right through the legs or through the abdomen of our opponent, chopping through it like we're chopping down a tree. And the way we're going to do that is by primarily rotating the hips through that target. So let's pop back into modern balanced Muay Thai stance. And from here, from our balanced stance, we're going to take this lead foot and step it off the front line, stepping out, opening up those hips, getting ready to launch that roundhouse kick. We're going to make sure the knees are bent so that the weight stays on the ball of the foot. And when we toss this kick, we want to make sure that the weight's on that ball so that we can pivot on the ball of that foot. You can practice right now in the wider stance, just pivoting forwards and pivoting backwards, trying to get used to that balance that comes in that rotation. We want to stay balanced through the whole movement. Now we're going to start to lift the leg and toss that hip over. So go ahead and pop back into your Muay Thai stance. Step off the line, right? Our weight's on the ball of the foot. And we're going to start to twist the hip. Boom. Twist the hip forwards and twist the hip back from that position. Go ahead and pop into that stance, right? Everything's nice and balanced. Step off the line and then twist. Boom. Twist the hip over. Twist the hip back. Really rotating that hip. Now in place, in position, without turning our whole body, just practice twisting the hip and kind of sinking the arms with that hip motion. When the hip's twisting this way, we want the arm chopping down. Arm chops down, hip twists. That's going to start to help us get that muscle memory going, start to help us get that feel for what we need to do with our arms. Our arms are going to act as a counterbalance, a counterweight for this kick. So what we can do is when we step out, you can reach across the face of that opponent, almost like you're tossing cross strike, but we're just going to use that hand as balance. We're going to let that hand chop back in the opposite direction of the leg, increasing that force, increasing that swing, and swing through the hips. Let's try it together. Step off the line, reach across the face, and now we're going to twist through the hips, whoosh, as we toss the hand back in the opposite direction. And you should start to feel that momentum building, right? Building that momentum through the hips, right? Bop, bop, bop. We're going to step off the line, reach across the face, and then twist, woof, twist through the hips, bring that foot around. Now you can do this just at a 180, right? Just landing like I just did, facing the opposite direction. That's totally fine. But if you have the room to go all the way through with it, it's a good idea to practice that balance. Step off the line, reach across the face, toss that foot, boom, all the way back around to your fighting stance and get back into it. One of those key things, just again, I want to focus in on is turning through that hip. Chopping through that hip, chopping the foot at the same time as you chop the arm in the opposite direction. And like we said, there's a chambered kick from more other forms of martial arts like karate and taekwondo. But with Muay Thai, it's not a chambered kick, it's our whole leg. We're tossing that whole leg whoosh through the body, and we want to make contact with the shin. Using that shin, you know, that's the hardest part of the leg there, most effective tool, causing damage here to that depression dummy. So pop back into stance, step off the line, twist through the hip, and bring that foot around. You do it nice and slow. You don't have to go all the way around. And if you don't have the room, shout out to Ken. Thank you for being here, Ken. Appreciate you. And he's in here at 290 days of consecutive progress. Good stuff, Ken. It's inspirational to hear about that progress. Keep going. Keep up with that consistency. It only grows stronger the more we use it. So when it comes back to that Muay Thai roundhouse kick, we're chopping through that opponent. So you want to visualize the leg traveling right through that opponent in front of you. Jab, cross, chop this arm, boom. We're chopping right through using that hip motion to get the leg to travel through. For a low kick, it's the same thing. We're just going to step off the line and send it through the calf, tossing that leg. The arms do the same thing. We're just changing those angles, and we'll practice that together. If you don't have the room to fully rotate or toss that roundhouse kick, feel free to just bring the knee up, whoosh, right? Just bring the knee up. Feel free to do it in slow motion. Step off the line. You can plant the front foot if you'd like, and just twist through those hips, boom, slow motion if you don't have the room around you to fully execute that roundhouse kick. Yeah, I know you guys don't know why I'm laughing, but it's all good. UT Doshi, thank you for your support. Ken, thanks for the support as well. And Ken said he's got himself a pack of water, went to the store to get it. Good stuff, Ken. Yeah, I got my water bottle right here, almost a gallon. So we got to stay hydrated. That's very important too. As we push to our skill level, we want to give ourselves a challenge, but check in with ourselves and make sure we're not overextending. Signs of overextending are nauseousness in the stomach, lightheadedness, dizziness, seeing spots. All those things mean we need to dial back that intensity. Now you have control over this routine. You can make it as intense or non-intense as you'd like. I'd like you to challenge yourself to your skill level, and as that skill level grows, you can increase that challenge. Things you can moderate are the power behind those punches and strikes, the speed of those punches and strikes, and the volume of those punches and strikes. And you'll see as we start moving forwards with the basics, with the fundamentals, you can toss in as many as you want in those combos in between. And Ken said, we have some with the same number at the end of our user's name. What's your name? Oh, you guys are chatting. All right, well, it's all good. We're going to get started though, so go ahead and visualize that physical opponent. We're going to start with those jabs and crosses, and then we'll start working into the roundhouse kick. We'll have the fighting spirit of the 80s coming through our sweet boom box. Yeah, right over there, working with the Stranger beat today. If you want to check out those beats for free, they are on Spotify at sacklifeofficial.com as the artist. Let's do this thing. Square up with that opponent. Pop into your Muay Thai stance. Guard nice and high by the brow line. Close the fingers, tuck the thumbs, and start shifting that weight forwards and backwards in your balanced stance from the front foot to the back foot. Remember, keep those knees bent so that you can have the weight move on the ball of the foot. That will allow us to pivot a lot easier. We're going to start by stepping into just number one. Boom. Number one jab, twist through the shoulders and hips, rotate back to square stance. Keeping that movement going if you're advanced. If not, you can just stand there, stay in place. Practice these moves in place. Twist through, boom, for the number one, rotate back. You'll notice the hips and shoulders twisting together as that fist goes forward. That's where we get our power. Comes through the whole body, comes through that rotation. Boom, twist forward, send that fist forward, and visualize, pop, making contact with that depression dummy's face. Back into stance. Exhale hard on that strike out of the mouth for an even better release of anxiety and frustration. Right there. It also engages the core and helps add power to the whip of that punch. And back. Exhale hard into that strike. Step in for the one and rotate back to defensive stance after each strike. We're going to add in the cross now in 3, 2, 1. Jab, cross, twisting through the shoulders for the one. Rotate on the ball of the front foot. Then as we bring this one back, we're twisting through the shoulders and the ball of the rear foot. Boom, sending that cross forward. Guard comes back to the head, back to stance. Step in for the 1, 2. Back in, square up. 1, 2, let's move it, tuck that chin. And visualize that target. Visualize that depression dummy. Getting weaker as we pound those lies right out of his face. Square up. Back in, keep it moving. Back in, you can make it as many shots as you want. 1, 2, 3, let's go. 4 shots. Ooh. If you like, square up. Keep sight of that target. And remember what you're fighting for. A better quality of life. The quality of life that you deserve. How do you know you deserve it? It's based on what you give. So give it 100%. Let's go. Hit that dummy. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Keep it moving. Twist those fists over. Landing on the large 2 knuckles. Tucking the thumb and squeezing at the point of impact. Let's go. Keep that head on the center line. And back to stance. Keep it moving. Step in and deliver that pain train to that depression dummy's brain. Let's go. Hit them. 1, 2, 3. Exhale hard on those strikes and keep it moving. Sink on those knees for rotation. Ooh, and that's the end of round 1. Catch your breath, drink some water. Hands fighting. UT said hi to Ken, and she's supporting the Sackman in our group, fighting depression and helping spread awareness. And free mental health tools. I appreciate that, UT. And check her out at My Mantra. She's got a cool thing going too. She does a lot of mental health interviews, raising awareness, breaking stigma, helping empower others. So we're all on the same page out here. Appreciate you fighting for that greater cause as well, UT. So we've got 29 seconds. We're going to get into the next round. The intensity might vary here because we're going to start breaking down that roundhouse kick again and adding that into our combos, adding that into our routines. If you don't have the room, again, feel free to toss that roundhouse in slow motion. Take it nice and slow, nice and easy, nice and controlled. If you do have the room, feel free to go wild. Swing that thing around with power. Keep the balance as your focus here, and let's do it. Pop back up into squared Muay Thai balance stance. We're going to talk about linking that roundhouse kick right into our combo. So we're going to step into the 1, twist through for the 2. Now here, as we're twisted through for the 2, puts us in a pretty good position, right, to chop this arm as a counterweight. So ba, ba. We're going to take that small step off the line, opening up the hip. Keep the chin tucked for balance here. We're going to rotate through, whoosh, and bring the foot all the way around, squaring back up with that opponent. Stand up straight, tuck that chin, curl the hips, curl the shoulders, guard high by the brow line. Step in for the 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we're going to sink, boom, step off that line with the front foot, and toss that hip over as the arm comes back in the opposite direction, stepping back into your balanced stance. Remember to turn that hip so we get our angle correct on the shin. We want that shin chopping right through the body of our opponent. Step forwards into the jab, the cross, square up. We're going to go with just the roundhouse kick now. So step off the line, opening up those hips for rotation, reach across the face, and toss, boom. Toss that leg around right through the opponent. Turning those hips, again, we'll get the correct contact surface. We want that large part of the shin chopping through. Step off that line again. We're going for another roundhouse. Off the line. The ball of the foot is where we want our weight. Reach across the face and toss that leg straight through. Chopping the arm in the opposite direction. Back to stance. Step in for the 1, 2. Boom, 1, 2, 3 if you'd like. As many combos here as you'd like. Get that release going. Exhale hard on those strikes, turning those fists over in the face of that depression dummy. And now link in the roundhouse kick. Jab, cross, step off the line, and chop, boom. Bring that foot around and back to squared stance. If you don't have the room for the full kick, just toss the knee around, right? Jab, cross, toss the knee, whoosh. Same rotation, same momentum, everything. It gives you more compact space to execute in your home. Jab, cross, toss the knee, whoosh. Bring it around. Make sure you're going up on that calf, using that calf muscle to get up on the ball of the foot. That'll let you rotate nice and easy. Jab, cross, toss that roundhouse kick, and back to stance. Nice and square, nice and simple. Straight forwards, jab, cross, bop, bop. Off the line, reach across the face, and toss it. Boom, back to stance. Square it up, tuck that chin, and get in there. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Hit that dummy in the face, keep moving. 1, 2, 3. Back to stance, and that's the end of round 2. Catch your breath, drink some water, check in on you, make sure you're doing all right. Ooh. Shout out to Nuper Kedia for being here. Appreciate that support. And to Rich Saw, thank you for being here as well as family support coming in. Appreciate you, fam. So we're talking about the roundhouse kick. We're talking about jab and cross. We're going to keep it pretty simple, pretty basic. And we'll keep going in the third round, picking up maybe a little bit of intensity. Ooh. UT said, love your passion, dedication. Appreciate that. This is what saved my life, and that's why I'm passionate about it. And I continue to do it every day for myself first. It is my self-care routine, and I'm happy to be here sharing it with others, helping them to find their self-care routines as well. So thank you for your support. Thank you for being here and being part of that self-care routine. We've got 10 seconds. We're going to pop back into Muay Thai stance, nice and balanced. Square up those hips, square up the shoulders. Bring the guard high by the brow line. Close the fingers, tuck the thumbs. Guard high, tuck that chin. Step in for the 1-2, pop, pop. And now back to stance. We're gonna step off that line and toss the roundhouse kick. Off the line, toss that kick right through. Boom, rotate on the ball of that front foot. Back to stance. Step in for the 1-2, pop, pop. Back to stance, step off the line and toss a roundhouse kick. Off the line, whoosh. Roundhouse kick back to stance. You're going to exhale through that whole strike. It'll help keep the core engaged, keep the balance tight. Tuck that chin through as well for improved balance. Step in for the 1-2, bump, bump. Back to stance, step off that line, boom. Oh, there it is. Toss that leg through and try not to knock anything over in your house. Step in for the 1-2, ba, ba. If you have limited space, use just the knee and simulate the roundhouse kick. Toss it. Boom, there it is, back to stance, square up, 1-2, back to stance, toss that knee, all the way around, square up again, and now we're going to toss a low roundhouse kick. So same thing, we're still chopping through with the leg, but this time we're going to target low. We're going to target the calf meat, we're going to target that hamstring meat there. So we're going to step off the line and just toss that leg, whoosh, low, right on through the leg of our opponent, taking out his mobility. Let's do it. Step into the 1-2. Back to stance. Low roundhouse. Boom. There it is. Swing it all the way around. Pivoting on that front foot and back to stance. 1-2. Back to stance. Low roundhouse kick here. Ooh. There it is. A little bit off. Square up. It's okay. We all have room to grow. Step into the 1-2. Back to stance. Step off that line. Open up the hip. Low roundhouse. Ooh. Back to stance. Square it up. 1-2, let's go. 1-2-3. 1-2-3-4. Back to stance, keep it square. Low roundhouse kick, go. There it is, square up. 1-2. 1-2-3. 1-2-3-4. Back to stance, high roundhouse kick this time. Let's go. Whoosh. Bring that foot around, square up with that opponent. 4-hit combo. Square up, low roundhouse kick. Whoosh. And back to stance, 4-hit combo. Square up, high roundhouse, let's go. Whoosh. Back to stance, keep it moving. Work that horizontal movement in there as well. Hit them with those combos. 1-2, 3 hits, 4 hits. Square up and roundhouse. Whoosh. Back to stance, keep it square, keep the guard high. 4-hit combo. 4 hit again. Square up and low roundhouse kick this time. Whoosh. Oh, back to stance. 1-2. 1-2-3. 1-2-3-4. Back to stance and it's the end of round 3. Congratulations if you stuck with us. That was 9 minutes of exercise that can change the rest of your life if you do keep track of it. Keep track of that progress that you're making. Keep track of the number of days that you got up and fought forward for you in the face of the things that were telling you you couldn't, or that you shouldn't, or that you didn't deserve to. Keep track of that number so on your worst days you can look at the physical proof of how much endurance and strength you have and let it anchor you back into reality where you are powerful and in control. Until next time. Ooh, we got a couple comments. Yep, Utadoshi, awesome. Thank you for being here. Yeah, it looks like you guys are just supporting each other, which is totally cool. I'll catch you guys same Sack time, same Sack channel, same Sack life next time. Sackman out. Ooh.